Joseph Murphy spent decades teaching that material wealth is not happenstance, but determined by the dominant vibrational frequency that an individual generates in their being. When Murphy analyzed families that lived with continuous economic hindrances, he detected a fascinating and disturbing pattern. These families transported, without realizing it, an energetic field of scarcity that continued from generation to generation, like a corrupted file playing continuously the same frequency of poverty. Murphy called this phenomenon energetic inheritance. He recognized that each family group possesses a vibrational pattern regarding economic matters, an energy that passes on through conduct, subconscious convictions and feelings regarding economic adversities. This inherited vibration acts like a secret system, establishing not only how much money someone can amass, but also their fundamental relationship with plenty. Murphy grasped that many of the financial blocks that he perceived did not stem from lack of capacity or misfortune, but merely in the received pattern that someone absorbed from the beginning of life. This insight radically transformed the approach in which Murphy viewed financial transformation. Rather than instructing uniquely profit strategies or investment techniques, Murphy focused on a deeper truth, altering the vibrational frequency relating to money that a person inherited from their lineage. Murphy reported surprising experiences of beings who managed to overcome this transmitted frequency, employing specific procedures of mental reprogramming. One of these examples detailed an executive named Roberto, whose lineage traversed a repetitive cycle of financial failure that remained through generations. His forefather had suffered the loss of everything he possessed in a ruinous venture. His progenitor had endured failed businesses, and Roberto, even though laboring in an obsessive way, saw himself repeating this identical sabotaging pattern. Each time he succeeded to amass some significant amount of fortune, an occurrence manifested in an inexplicable way, and the individual saw disappear everything. It seemed that there existed a hidden power blocking his deliberate efforts. Murphy mentored Roberto for several months, teaching him an essential truth that would be central in all his philosophy. The unconscious does not distinguish between capital that belongs to you and money your lineage believes it deserves. If in your essence resides the pattern that fortune is dangerous, that evolving economically is dangerous, that financial tranquility is deceptive or fictitious, therefore your subconscious will function incessantly to keep you within this vibration, since it constitutes the real fact. The deep mind does not critically analyze. It merely executes the roadmaps that were recorded in your being through family experience. Roberto finally understood that he was not complacent or incompetent, he was conditioned, and mental patterns can be transformed. Murphy clarified that when you change the vibration that prevails in your being, you change the command that you emit to your deep being. It resembles reprogramming a device that was running with aged software, which is defective. If the system stays established, prepared to absorb only a specific amount of wealth, then that will be precisely what you will conquer, apart from how much energy you dedicate. Murphy demonstrated this truth by means of meditative visualization approaches that he had formulated over years. He directed his clients to consecrate 5 to 10 minutes all mornings, preferably immediately upon waking, when the consciousness remains in receptive alpha waves, conjuring the image of not solely the entry of patrimony in their living, but mainly the inner perception of solidity, deep certainty and personal value that is associated with this entry. Murphy emphasized decidedly that this internal experience represented the authentic key. It was not the capital independently that had importance for the transformation. It formed the frequency that the person established in connection with money. With Roberto, Murphy began a process that he named Ancestral Vibrational Transmutation, a method that he had perfected through numerous cases of success. Roberto would need to, for 60 days, spend a quarter of an hour daily at night before sleep in a deep meditative state. In this special moment, Roberto should identify with total clarity the entire financial legacy of his lineage. He should mentally evoke his close ancestor, facing the economic collapse, his progenitor confronting bankrupt businesses, and all this ancestral lineage who came previously carrying like patterns. Then, mentally, Roberto should enunciate with authentic emotion: I admit what you lived. I tribute with admiration the challenges you faced. I recognize the importance of your journey and the obstacles you overcame. Yet at this moment, in this sacred moment, I release this frequency of lack from my mind. I institute a new frequency for my ancestors. From now on, in my life, circulation of resources, prosperity, and monetary tranquility are the master frequencies that rules my paths and my reality. Murphy observed meticulously that when Roberto did this with genuine sincerity, with true emotional feeling that involved his whole being, something extraordinary began to happen in the external world. Roberto's financial situations began to reorganize subtly, but surely. An opportunity that Roberto would have previously rejected out of fear or mistrust came to be seen under a new illuminated perspective. An old client returned with a substantial project. An unexpected scholarship for his daughter appeared at the exact moment when her education was a financial concern. None of this was coincidence, Murphy explained with conviction. It was simply the natural and inevitable consequence of an altered vibration. When you change your internal vibration, the entire universe needs to reorganize itself to correspond to this new frequency you have established. People, opportunities, resources, everything begins to align differently in your life. Murphy formulated a teaching that he termed Law of Vibrational Correspondence, a principle that he had tested in hundreds of experiences. This principle states simply that the exterior environment always responds exactly to the dominant psyche. If inside you there exists with intense fear of scarcity, then the exterior reality will show continuously situations that amplify this apprehension and confirm your limiting belief. If in your interior you resonate deep certainty in your innate fullness, then the surrounding environment will reveal perspectives that nourish and increase this certainty. The most innovative element of this truth is that it operates apart from your present position or your past history. A person completely indebted who alters their predominant frequency to plenty will begin in a few weeks to observe small changes that are observable. These alterations tend to be subtle in the initial phases, but are markers of a deep transformation. An unforeseen cost is bypassed because you opt to reject making an impulsive purchase. A possibility emerges because you were in higher emotional frequency to interact with a significant person. Your whole body commences to oscillate in a new pattern. Murphy had a special interest in the family aspect of this transformation because he had observed an extraordinary phenomenon repeatedly. When a person changes their vibration and manages to maintain this change for a sufficient period, the entire family dynamic begins to reorganize deeply. Children who were struggling financially begin to prosper unexpectedly. Parents who faced chronic difficulties find new solutions and paths. It is as if this person, by raising their own vibration, pulled the entire lineage to a new vibrational level. Murphy explained this as a principle of family resonance. When a musical instrument begins to vibrate at a specific frequency, all other nearby instruments naturally begin to vibrate at the same frequency, even without physical contact. Likewise, when you establish a vibration of prosperity within you, all those energetically linked to you naturally begin to enter into resonance with this elevated frequency you created. To generate this alteration of frequency that was permanent and radical, Murphy created a method structured in 3 stages that he believed totally necessary for victory. The first moment is what Murphy called conscious ancestral recognition, and he emphasized that it was ineffective to proceed without ending truly this first step. In this stage, you must commit time genuinely recognizing the complete financial trajectory of your lineage. This does not constitute holding responsible your forebears or rebuffing them with negative energy. It signifies just seeing with total transparency what they endured, the deep traumas that they experienced, the patterns that they developed as a survival strategy in difficult times. Murphy noted that diverse individuals sought to pretend this uncomfortable narrative, tried to pretend it did not exist, and this prejudiced irremediably the true transformation. It is completely impossible to become free from what you deny consciously to see. Murphy taught his patients to begin this simple method, which is transforming. At dusk, ideally when preparing to sleep, when the psyche is more receptive, position yourself in deep silence. Inhale and exhale in a deep way for some moments, and psychically reflect deeply on your lineage. Visualize the forms of your predecessors. Accept the adversities that they experienced. Communicate on the mental plane with authenticity a statement like, "I accept that you, my progenitor, lived through deep losses that created deep dread in your consciousness. I admit that you, my progenitor, developed survival patterns that were transmitted through generations over generations." Murphy explained that this recognition is deeply healing on a spiritual and psychological level. By recognizing the story, you take this story out of the unconscious, where it operates silently controlling your actions, and bring it to the full light of consciousness. In this clear light, it loses the power to control you automatically. It ceases to be something that controls you like a puppet, and becomes something you see with absolute clarity, and can choose to transform. Murphy used to say with emphasis that nothing that remains unconscious can be truly transformed. Everything that is brought to consciousness can be worked on, can be dissolved, can be rewritten in a completely different way. This first stage should be practiced for at least 2 weeks every day with genuine emotion and complete attention. The second stage of Murphy's method is what he called declared vibrational disconnection, and he was absolutely clear about its critical importance. In this stage, after consciously recognizing the ancestral story, you must declare with authority that this vibration of limitation will no longer be the dominant force of your life. Murphy was not in favor of a vague or intellectual approach in this stage. He demanded genuine emotion, clear intention, and deep commitment, not just to the words, but to real transformation. After recognition, still in your moment of silence at night, Murphy instructed his clients to place their hand over their heart and say with unshakable emotional firmness, "I completely release the vibration of scarcity that was inherited through generations. I unlink my conscious mind from every pattern of financial limitation that belonged to my ancestors. I allow my soul to be the genuine and true origin of my prosperity and abundance. From this moment, the dominant vibration I establish and maintain is that of conscious abundance, genuine confidence, and unlimited flow." Murphy instructed that this proclamation acts because it establishes a new authority inside you. You do not place yourself rejecting your family legacy or your narrative. You remain just exercising your inalienable right as a conscious being who is independent to choose a different vibration. Murphy had observed multiple cases validated where this confession, when executed with authentic emotive sincerity, generated a vibrational rupture so potent and transforming that observable transformations emerged in subsequent days. He kept compiled situations where people reported extraordinarily clear dreams and exceptional dreams right after the declaration. Dreams where their ancestors seemed to validate this change with quiet approval and vibrational acquiescence. Despite the fact that Murphy was a systematic investigator who was rigorous in his general approach, he accepted that there prevailed occurrences that surpassed strictly material reason and cerebral logic. The third stage is the one Murphy considered absolutely the heart and soul of the entire vibrational transformation. He called it continuous vibrational re-establishment, and it was in this stage that the real work of rewriting your financial reality happened. In this stage, you not only dissolve the old problematic vibration, but actively establish a new vibration that becomes your dominant pattern. Murphy was extremely specific and precise about how to do this to achieve real results. After the declaration of disconnection, still in their deep and receptive meditative state, Murphy instructed his clients to visualize a field of golden, luminous, and living energy completely enveloping their heart, radiating to their entire body. This field is not vague or abstract. It is real, intensely felt in the body, palpable like a transforming physical presence. Murphy frequently asked his clients to describe in precise detail how this golden field felt in their physical body. Some described gentle and comforting heat. Others described deep and enveloping safety. Still others described an extraordinary sensation of expansion and freedom. While he kept this sharp image and felt, Murphy instructed with conviction, "Say internally, with absolute conviction, my preponderant frequency now reveals itself as conscious fullness. My physical being pulses totally with economic confidence. My hidden psyche finds itself totally reformatted to receive with generosity, to earn completely, and to retain perpetually abundance. My resonance is aligned entirely with opening, endless circulation, and endless development. The want that was passed forward eclipsed itself fully eternally. The prosperity that constitutes my innate spiritual right firms itself in this moment as the permanent reality of my living. Murphy stated unequivocally that these affirmations must be enunciated not robotically by habit or in a shallow way, but with true, deep feeling, with sincerity that comes from the heart, as if you vibrated, manifesting the supreme truth and fundamental of your complete journey. Murphy observed that this third stage is exactly where most people faced significant difficulties in the process. They managed to do the first two stages with some success, but in the third stage the rational mind began to doubt and question. How can I say I am prosperous if I have significant debts? How can I say my vibration is abundance if my bank account tells another story of limitation? How can I declare what only my current reality denies? Murphy had a clear and transformative answer for this. He explained that the rational mind does not govern true reality. Vibration governs reality. The rational mind is merely a tool that describes retroactively what vibration has already created. If you want to change what the rational mind describes, you must first change the vibration at the root. Murphy used a potent and transformative metaphor. He said that vibration is like the root of a tree, and visible financial results are like the branches, leaves, and flowers. If you only look at the visible branches and try to change the tree by pruning the branches, you will never achieve real or lasting change. But if you change the fundamental root, the whole tree changes inevitably. Murphy recommended that this terminal stage be practiced constantly day after day, without interruptions, for a term of 40 days successive. He had designated 40 days because he had observed in diverse cases that it was justly the necessary duration for a new frequency to install itself definitively as the predominant vibration in the depths of the hidden psyche. The first 14 days relate to establishment and consolidation of the transformed energy. The new vibration still presents itself as fragile and temporary. It still competes aggressively with the old patterns that fight to continue. In days 15 to 28, something radically alters and frees itself. The new frequency starts progressively to acquire real strength, to feel more natural and true, more fundamental to your deep being. During days 29 until 40, the new vibrational pattern finally firms itself as the preponderant frequency that guides your responses. Upon completing 40 days of regular execution and genuine commitment, Murphy verified that his clients told an emotional evolution so deep that it was observable even to uninvolved people. The fear that paralyzes concerning money faded substantially until extinguishing itself. The emotional weight of growing financially and accepting disappeared completely. A security which was serene, transforming, and firm in the financial future began to emerge fluidly from your core. Murphy had a particular and very effective method to help his clients maintain absolute consistency during these critical 40 days. He recommended they keep a simple and honest journal. Each night, after completing the full ritual of the 3 stages, they should briefly note what they felt and observed, not for heavy intellectual analysis, but simply to deepen the experience and root it. Murphy observed that when people recorded their experience in words, the practice became more concrete, more real, more irrefutable. He also recommended that during these 40 days of transformation, people be particularly attentive to the small signs of change that appeared. A small but significant opportunity that arose unexpectedly, an unexpected expense that was providentially avoided, a casual conversation with someone that led to an interesting and unexpected possibility. Murphy taught that vibrational change does not typically begin with spectacular and dramatic results. It begins, always, with small synchronicities indicating that vibration is genuinely changing at the deepest level. Murphy emphasized an essential component that many neglected totally in their fulfillment. Throughout these 40 days of disciplined execution, the practical actions equally have fundamental importance. The frequency prepares the necessary foundation. Yet you still lack to cultivate the valor to proceed. If a chance appears on your course, you have to cultivate the courage to explore it honestly. If an idea sprouts relative to how to expand your inputs or to diversify your earnings, you have to find yourself prepared to execute it with decision. Murphy called this aligned action, and it showed itself fundamentally vital. It forms the movement that surges fluidly when your frequency has transformed to abundance. This movement is deeply different from the desperate attitude seated in anxiety. It is action that is firm, clear, instinctive, and accurate. Murphy stated that after his clients sustained the correct energy and performed consistently in harmony with this frequency, the paths unfolded in forms that prior presented themselves totally unfeasible or almost miraculous. The trajectory that the Master Murphy presented was basically a trajectory of true emancipation and radical. It did not form dodging from concrete difficulties. It constituted confronting the factual truth that you remained molded by ancestral transmitted frequency and opting in a conscious way and with strength to transform this vibration totally. It characterized itself as recognizing that you carry exceptional potency not merely to transform your own journey, but to alter the entire trajectory and coming destiny of all your family heritage. This recognition constitutes genuine power in its purest expression, not that capacity uniquely to dominate or to triumph over antagonists. However, the real power to transform resonance, to surpass ancestral restrictions. This teaching, Murphy taught with absolute certainty, represents the true liberation which is monetary and spiritual that every conscious creature pursues.